I used to work late nights as a security guard at a 40-story office building downtown. The pay was decent, and most nights were quiet. Until I started noticing the elevator on the 32nd floor. It would move on its own, stopping at that floor every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., even though the building was completely empty. At first I thought it was just a maintenance issue. Old buildings have quirks, right? But when I checked the maintenance logs, there was no scheduled work. I started watching the security cameras more carefully, focusing on the 32nd floor. That's when I saw something that made my blood run cold. The elevator doors would open on 32, and nothing would come out. But I could see the floor buttons lighting up inside, pressed by invisible hands. First the lobby, then random floors. 7, 15, 28. Like someone was desperately trying to escape something, hitting every button they could reach. I decided to investigate. Against protocol, I took the stairs up to 32 during one of these episodes. The climb felt endless, and with each floor, the temperature seemed to drop. When I finally reached 32, I could hear the elevator moving, but the hallway was pitch black except for the exit signs. I used my flashlight to check the offices, but they were all locked and empty. Just as I was about to give up, I heard something that made me freeze. It was coming from the elevator shaft, a scratching sound, like fingernails dragging against metal, getting louder and more frantic. The scratching stopped suddenly, and the elevator dinged. The doors opened, and I shined my light inside. The car was empty, but there were deep scratches gouged into the back wall, fresh scratches that definitely weren't there before. And there was something else that made my stomach turn. There was blood under the scratches. Not a lot, but enough to see that someone, or something, had been clawing at that wall with enough force to break through skin. I stepped back from the elevator, but the doors didn't close. They just stayed open, like it was waiting for me to get in. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate steps coming down the hallway. I spun around, but my flashlight revealed nothing except empty corridor. The footsteps stopped. Then I heard breathing. Ragged, desperate breathing that seemed to come from inside the elevator car behind me. I turned back to the elevator, and the floor buttons were lighting up again. But faster this time. Random floors, over and over, like someone was frantically pressing them in panic. The scratching sound returned, louder now, coming from above the elevator car, from inside the shaft itself. I looked up through the gap between the elevator and the shaft wall. My flashlight beam disappeared into the darkness above, but I could hear something moving up there. Something big. The cables were swaying slightly, and there was a metallic creaking sound, like something heavy was climbing down toward the car. The elevator doors started to close, slowly at first, then faster. I realized I had two choices: run for the stairs or get in the elevator. The footsteps in the hallway started again, closer this time, and I could hear what sounded like multiple people walking toward me from both directions. I made the worst decision of my life. I stepped into the elevator. The doors slammed shut immediately, and the car started moving, but not down. It was going up, past floors that didn't exist. The display showed 35, 38, 42, floors that were never built. The scratching was all around me now, coming from the walls, the ceiling, everywhere. I pressed every button I could reach, but nothing stopped the elevator's impossible ascent. That's when I saw them. Handprints on the walls, dozens of them, pressed into the metal like the walls were made of clay. The elevator stopped at floor 57. The doors opened to reveal absolute darkness. Not just the absence of light, but a darkness that seemed to have weight and presence. Something stepped into the elevator with me. I couldn't see it, but I felt its presence, cold and ancient and hungry. I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. They found me in the basement of the building, unconscious, with deep scratches on my arms and hands. The elevator had been out of service for 6 months, ever since a maintenance worker fell down the shaft and died on the 32nd floor. They say I must have sleepwalked, but I know the truth. Some elevators don't just go up and down. They go to places that shouldn't exist, carrying passengers who should have gotten off long ago.